NutraCast.
Business travel program filled with unexpected twists and turns? CLC offers flexible reservations and cancellations without a monthly fee, plus travel policy controls, 24/7 traveler support, and even centralized billing and insights, all across a large network of pre-negotiated hotels with best price guarantees. Travelers can book last-minute reservations on the go with the mobile app, or by just walking in with a CLC card. CLC Lodging. Workforce travel that just works. Visit clclodging.com to sign up for free.
Get the whole band together with Workday and pair finance and HR on one platform for an epic performance. With Workday AI at the core, you'll make confident decisions faster than ever, and you'll drive flawless business and finance operations with an agile platform that constantly evolves to future-proof your organization. Be a finance and HR rockstar with Workday. Visit Workday.com to learn more.
There's a change happening in the way we live, the way we work, the way we spend our money and make our decisions. We are evolving to be more conscious in our actions in a way that serves the world and makes it a better place. Welcome to the Ethical Evolution. The Ethical Evolution podcast is brought to you by Ethical Change Agency. I'm Bindi, I'm the founder, and my mission is to help ethical entrepreneurs and holistic healers to find their voice through spiritual coaching and podcasting. I'm honoured to bring you the stories of those who create change through healing, kindness, innovation, purpose, and spirit. Understanding that to create collective change, we need to be the change. It all begins with us. Hey, before we get into this episode, I just wanted to let you know that you can now grab my album of guided meditations. It's called Sourced by Spirit, and it's on all streaming platforms, including Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Tidal, YouTube Music, and many more. There's 11 guided meditations ranging from 4 minutes through to 10 minutes to help you reset your mind and your body at any time. Okay, now let's get on with the show. Dr. Rosemarie Rutecki is a visionary pharmacist with a passion for health and wellness. With a Doctor of Pharmacy degree and a board certification in functional medicine from the Institute of Functional Medicine, Dr. Rutecki is dedicated to uncovering the root cause of imbalances in your body. Her approach to care goes beyond the surface symptoms and delves into the complex interplay of nutrition, digestion, detoxification, immune function, hormones, and metabolism. By analysing these critical areas, Dr. Rutecki empowers her clients to achieve optimal health and peak performance. In this episode, we go deep into the gut and get back to basics on how we can heal ourselves from the inside out. Welcome, Rosemarie, to the Ethical Evolution.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too. You're joining us all the way from Florida. For those people who don't know who you are and what you do, can you go ahead and tell us?
Yes, so I am a functional medicine doctor. I specialize in gut health, adrenals, and hormones, and getting people energized. And so I move away from the traditional medicine. I used to be a pharmacist. Well, I'm still a pharmacist, but I used to work as a traditional pharmacist. And when I was working as a pharmacist, the whole model of giving people more medications without addressing the root cause and keeping people sick was not making me feel happy, right? Because one of the reasons why people and nurses and doctors and pharmacists, all healthcare professionals, they want to be a healthcare professional is to really help people. But when you're there after you study and then you graduate and you'll go out to work, you're like, I'm so excited. I'm going to help people. They're going to get better. I'm going to solve all their problems. And then you see that you're just part of the big, corporations and pharmaceutical companies. You're just working for them. Now you're promoting their products. You're keeping people sick. The more people are sick, the more they'll continue with medication. So it's a very profitable business. Mm-hmm. And as a healthcare practitioner, I was not fulfilling my duty of really making people feel good. Don't get me wrong, medications have their place. They save lives. But for most of the chronic conditions that we're having right now, like diabetes, heart disease, high cholesterol, obesity, are part of our lifestyle. And if we address the root cause, we work on our gut health, we're going to start experiencing good health.
And that's it. I think, there's a lot of medicine practitioners, like traditional medicine practitioners nowadays, who are finding, you know what I'm doing is not actually working and there's a better way. It's almost like they're seeing a new light and they're going, all right, well, let's try something else. It's almost like medicine 3.0. I know Dr. Peter Attia talks about that a lot. But it's interesting to see that you've taken that leap from, I guess, what they call the big pharma into a more natural approach for people. And preventative medicine is really where it's at, isn't it? So it's taking care of ourselves before we need medicine, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we want to, and I work with people that have tons of medications, right? And then I'm not going to be the one that's going to tell them stop taking your medications or don't take your medications, because we have to heal the body first. And when the body is in a place where I feel healthy and my blood pressure is normal, my cholesterol it's normalized, my thyroid levels normalized, I don't have any more pain, then the medications are not needed anymore. And I tell them to go to your doctor, talk about that, of course, with your primary care doctor. And a lot of times they go to the doctor, like, yeah, my doctor took me out of prescription medications. I don't need it anymore. And I'm like, that's amazing, right? So the body has the capacity of healing. We are making new cells all the time. We're pretty much like a machine, like, taking bad cells, making new cells. And if we have the nutrients, and our gut microbiome have all the nutrients that it needs to digest and absorb and throw all that to our cells, guess what's going to happen? We're going to feel really good because our organs, our cell membranes, everything inside of us is going to have the nutrients, the micronutrients that it needs to thrive.
Now, you and I were quickly talking off air about functional medicine, and I've spoken about functional medicine with other people previously on the show. Just give us a refresher on the difference of what functional medicine is in comparison to traditional medicine or even naturopathy.
Okay, so the difference between functional medicine and traditional medicine is that traditional medicine, the model is we're going to diagnose and we're going to prescribe you a medication, but it's rarely looking at what is causing that in the first place and help you be healthy again, right? Rarely a doctor is going to ask you, how's your lifestyle? What are you eating? Are you having a lot of stress at home? Do you suffer any type of traumatic event? Did you were exposed to a lot of chemicals or toxins? Do you have a rough childhood? Right? All those things impact the way that we feel. And if we go, and doctors these days, poor things, and I used to work as a pharmacist. It's a very stressful job, right? It's like you are seeing so many people, you have very limited amount of time to take care of someone. So it's pretty much, you have this is what you take. I see you in a couple of months, right? And then even when they go to the pharmacy, the interaction is like, you take this medication like that. Do you have any other question? Okay, bye. And then you have to go because you have like tons of other prescriptions. And then in functional medicine, we have more time because we look into the root cause, what is causing the way that you're feeling, right? Like as I talked at the beginning, it's common because you were exposed to sometimes people take a lot of medications like antibiotics, and that wipe your flora. And then it takes a lot of time for your flora to come back. And then people are saying, well, I took this antibiotic or this medication. Then after that, I start feeling very bad, right? We also do testing, functional testing, that looks more deeper into root causes. Like, for example, it's coming from your gut. Are you having some type of adrenal issues? Are you having some nutritional deficiencies? And that's the reason why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. So functional medicine looks for the root cause and works on allowing the body to do its job, to heal when you put what the body needs. And traditional medicine, it's mostly keeping you the same way you are because it's putting a Band-Aid, just giving you medication, but it's not helping you to heal. It's just to keeping you sick, but a little bit more functional, but you're still sick.
And I guess to simplify it, functional medicine looks at the whole human, whereas traditional medicine just looks at the issue or the condition.
One tiny thing. Yeah. So in functional medicine, we look at the body as a whole. Thank you for saying that, Mindy. as the body as a whole, because we're not just one organ, right?
Yeah.
You go to a traditional doctors and then you have like multiple specialists. One look at your heart, one looks at your digestive system, one looks at your skin. And then you're going to one doctor to the other, they're not communicating. But in reality, the body, it's one thing, right? Everything is connected. You need good gut for, good liver, good kidneys, good heart. Everything is connected. If one thing is not working, it's going to impact your whole body.
Yeah. And I do remember my friend who I've previously spoken about and who I used to see as a patient, she told me about the training that you guys have to go through to actually get certified. And it's pretty full on because you got to know everything, right? It's not just one specialization. It's like a lot. So when you go to a functional medicine practitioner, they know their stuff.
They know the stuff. But you got to be careful because a lot of people say that they're functional medicine doctors and then they took a week training. Right?
Yeah.
And there's a certification process. So I did a certification with the Institute of Functional Medicine that took me like about 3 years.
Yeah.
And then I did a board exam. So I sat down, a lot of people, that take it like MDs, medical doctors, dentists, special, you have to have like a doctor degree. In some medical professions in order to get this test and to take the training too. So you got to be careful who do you go and what type of training they did and all those things is important.
Yeah. So you really got to look out for the genuine people who are certified and that they are from the Institute of Functional Medicine because it is the real deal. Now,
yes,
Rosemarie, today we're going to talk about the gut, and it's something I love talking about. I'm absolutely fascinated by it. And if we just get back to the basics, I know my friend, we used to talk about the gut a lot, and she would say that if you were to take your gut and spread it out, it'd be something like the size of a tennis court. Like the actual long. The surface of it within you is like the surface of a tennis court. Tell us the function of the gut and what it does.
So the gut does so many things for us. Sometimes we just don't even pay attention to it. When I was a child, I grew up with a lot of constipation. Right? I was always constipated. I struggled so much with so many gut issues. And I took a lot of antibiotics. And that pretty much took away my good flora. So I had a lot of overgrowth of bacteria. I have a lot of overgrowth of yeast. And I had a lot of allergies. And I was super bloated. And I didn't understood back then the connection between the gut and the rest of your health. And all of the symptoms that I was having was because my gut microbiome was hungry. I was not giving it all the nutrients that it needed to thrive. So a good, healthy gut microbiome needs tons of fiber, fermented foods. And if you are taking medications like antibiotics, medications for acid reflux, like antacids, medications for pain, all those medications cause a lot of leaky gut and inflammation in the gut. And that also causes issues with your gut. So it's super important that we pay attention to all those things to improve our gut health.
So when you talk about leaky gut there, I know that's something that gets thrown around a bit and people are like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, explain that to us. What exactly is that?
Leaky gut is when the intestine gets more permeable than it usually is because the intestines are permeable, so nutrients can go through the membranes and to our bloodstream, and we absorb all that, and our cells get the nutrition that it needs. But when the membranes get a little bit bigger, more permeable, then things that are supposed to stay in the gut are going to come out of the gut. So, for example, food particles. One of them, gluten, is a big one. That's why a lot of people are very sensitive to gluten. Gluten pretty much comes intact, right? It's difficult for the body to digest the protein. So when it goes out of the membranes and it's in our bloodstream, our body's going to be like, what are you doing here? And it's going to start attacking that protein. And that gluten protein can go to different parts of our body. For some people, it will go to the thyroid. And that person can develop Hashimoto's. So people that have Hashimoto's, when they stop eating gluten, a lot of their symptoms goes away. People that have rheumatoid arthritis and they're eating a lot of gluten, or they're having leaky gut, not only gluten, other things like bacteria. There's also bacteria like Klebsiella that is associated with rheumatoid arthritis. So if you have that in the gut and you have leaky gut, that bacteria can access the bloodstream and then start creating a cascade of other inflammatory things. So when we have leaky gut, that causes inflammation in the body. Inflammation in the body also creates a reaction in the brain, right? Leaky gut, leaky brain, because all those inflammatory cytokines are now all over our body. So our body's going to be attacking itself. So that's the very important thing of thinking about why it's so important to take care of our gut. So our gut, not only, I know you asked me this before, and then I went in another tangent about my childhood and the gut, but the gut microbiome, when we eat the food, the function is to digest and absorb all those nutrients and then take it away, right, through our bloodstream for our organs to absorb all that nutrition. So it's not that we're just eating food and going to the bathroom, right? We eat the food for our body to absorb the nutrients, because our mitochondria, which is our cellular energy, every cell of our body has mitochondria. So the mitochondria needs tons of micronutrients, vitamin B's, magnesium, iron, all those stuff. And then where we get all those nutrition? From food. And if we're eating food that are highly processed, that's sadly, that's the most what people eat, highly processed food. So we don't only have to look into the calories of the food, because a lot of people are like tracking their macros, and which is great, but track your macros and add nutrients to your food if that's what you're doing. And if you're eating whatever, because you just eat whatever, and you're having a lot of issues in your health, that might be because you're not eating food that have nutrients. So when you eat the food, you're masticating the food, that creates all the process in your gut microbiome of starting to increase acid in the gut, to start the digestion process. You absorb the nutrients, and then that bacteria start, taking all that. And I'm there like, wow, this food, there's nothing in here. I'm just going to poop it all out. There's no nutrients here. And then it's going to send you a signal of, I'm hungry, right? And people that eat a lot of processed food tend to eat more processed food. That's the problem that we're having with obesity, because these people are constantly hungry because the things that they're eating are not nutrient dense, and your gut microbiome is hungry. Your gut microbiome is not going to tell you, tell Susie to eat more fermented foods or more fiber, because that's what we need right now, more nutrients. It's telling you, I'm hungry. And Susie's going to continue to eat. And the gut microbiome is starving. So when we learn to eat for the gut microbiome, we have more balance, we feel fuller, we have balanced blood sugars, our gut microbiome is happy. And we have to think about, that's why I tell my kids and all my clients, the gut microbiome is the boss. And if the boss is hungry and angry, it's going to let you know by experiencing different things. For some people, it could be an autoimmune condition. For another person, might be issues with their skin. For some people, could be cancer, because even cancer is associated with the gut microbiome. So there's so many chronic conditions that are associated with your gut microbiome, even anxiety, depression, because we make a lot of neurotransmitters in our gut. So if our diet is very sad, here in the United States, we call it the standard American diet. So it's the SAD diet, because it's very based on flour and fried foods, very limited amount of healthy proteins and healthy fibers. So our gut is sad, and when everything is sad inside of us, then we're going to start presenting all our symptoms. And then we're like, we're so sick as a nation. Of course, look at the way that we're eating, how much the food is processed. The soil doesn't have the nutrients that it used to have. We're spraying chemicals all over. And as we're going to continue seeing generation to generation, we're seeing kids presenting with type 1 diabetes, tons of autoimmune disorders that we used to see in adults. Now we're seeing that on children.
And it really
is coming from the gut.
It really is, you are what you eat, isn't it? Like
we are what we eat.
Yeah.
And nobody ever told me that. I never learned that at school, even in pharmacy school. I did 4 years of pharmacy. Then I did a residency training. I mean, it's a lot of time. Plus pre-pharmacy was like 3 years. So I studied a lot. And I never learned anything about nutrition. It was all about body systems biology and what the medication is going to do to fix different issues. When you're young, when I was in pharmacy school, I was in my 20s, early 20s. So I didn't have any chronic condition, any chronic disease. I was healthy. And I was thinking that, okay, this medication is going to fix it. It's going to fix all the problems for everyone. But then when you start practicing, you're like, no, this is not fixing the problem. And then you didn't learn anything about nutrition. And then you're thinking, what am I doing wrong? What's happening with the system? The same happened with the medical doctors. They have no training in nutrition. They have no training on lifestyle strategies. They have no training on stress. And the biggest factors of the reason why we're so sick is that we're highly stressed. We don't know how to manage stress. They don't teach us that meditation is important, taking a break is important. We are in a culture like it's like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Your adrenals are going to just burn out because that happened. That happened to me, and it happens to a lot of people. So everything just stack. And then when you are in your 30s, 40s, 50s, you feel pretty sick.
Yeah. And, it's funny that you say that, because I think the last 3 guests I've spoken to, exactly the same theme, that, actual traditional medicine, they don't learn half of what you really need to heal someone or to heal yourself and take care of yourself. And there's more coming on the show on that. But, we got to do something about this. And I know that
we do.
Functional medicine is a really great start, but I think education is a really important part of it as well. And for me, I don't know whether you agree, Rosemarie, but I think the gut is a really central part of everything functional medicine does. I mean, I know it's just one part, but, your environment's another, and all the other things that impact you. But really, what we eat is a big part of that. And I think we need to change the narrative around what we put in our body, because, we see advertising that is like advertising junk food, saying it's a treat when it's actually not. It's like we just need to flip the switch a little bit and actually look at things a little differently and look at it as fuel rather than something like a treat or something else, because it does have a long-term effect. You might not see it immediately, but it will have an effect on you. And one of the things, when you're talking about the SAD diet there, not only does it sound sad, it probably tastes a bit sad too, but there's no colour. There's no colour in that food. It's all white, brown, beige. But really what we should be doing is eating the rainbow, right? Everything natural, organic, without the pesticides, lots of colour. I don't know about you, but that gets me excited to eat if there's lots of colour.
Ray-Ban Meta Smart Glasses help you make the most out of every moment. Hey Meta, text Naeem. Got us a table. This spot looks legit. Hey Meta, look and translate this for me.
It says traditional lime soup with chicken.
Hey Meta, take a photo. Ray-Ban Meta Smart Glasses. Learn, connect, and capture content hands-free, so you can stay in the moment. Iconic style meets cutting-edge technology with Ray-Ban Meta Smart Glasses.
Yeah, me too. We went grocery shopping today, and I just love seeing all the color in my shopping cart, right? All the different fruits. We eat tons of fruits at home. My kids, they love fruit, and fruit has so much fiber. And when kids are growing, they're hungry all the time. So my pantry is pretty much fruit. There's like oranges, apples, pears, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, you name it, tons of fruit. And that's what they're eating all the time, because when they're growing, they're eating. And I remember when I was growing up, there was just chips and potatoes and, think canned food. So we were hungry, we just open a can, or we were hungry, we just open a bag. But now, if we understand that what our microbiome needs, especially if we want to have healthy children and also help them develop emotionally healthy, physically healthy, so they grew up to be good, just have them tons of fruits. And kids like more fruits than veggies, so you have to choose your battles. They like fruits more, so I have tons of fruit for them. And then I force them to eat fermented foods. They don't like it. But fermented foods are great because they have shown on studies that they increase your microbiome diversity, like increase your flora. They're great for, and also anti-inflammatory. They lower inflammatory markers too. So fermented foods is something I would tell people to eat. So sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, yogurt. Your gut microbiome loves fermented foods and tons the color of the rainbow. So think about the more color you have in your diet, the more diversity you're giving to yourself. So sometimes we like to eat the same. So if you like apples, try different variety of apples. That's something that I learned with Dr. Hyman because I took the training. I remember that he did that talk about different foods, and every food is code for your cells. So even an apple, it could be different type of apples, like a green apple, red apple, and there's like, I don't know, 200, 300 varieties of apples, I think. I know there's a lot of them. So each apple have a different code, even though they're all apples. So if you want to increase your diversity, so have different colors of apples, different colors of pears, different colors of carrots, different colors of beets and potatoes and sweet potatoes. So then that way you're increasing the diversity and the nutrients, because food have a lot of, the more color, the more polyphenols. And then polyphenols are really good because they're anti-inflammatory. They have shown to decrease cancers and so many chronic diseases. So if we use food as medicine, the less we're going to spend on prescription medications or surgeries, going to the doctors or getting so many studies. I have a lot of clients that I have gone to so many specialists. They have done so much lab work. They can find anything. And I feel really bad. But when we dig a little deeper and then we test the gut microbiome, we test their adrenal health, we test their microbiome, their micronutrients, their nutrients, their mitochondria, that's when we find a lot of things that they're deficient. So sometimes we could be feeling really, really bad and be normal in our blood work. I was one of those too. Well, that's one of the reasons why I discovered functional medicine, because I was feeling really bad. Went to the doctors and you're fine. And then they tell you that you're crazy or that you need or perhaps maybe you're just depressed. And I'm like, no, I'm not depressed. I just don't feel good. And I know I can feel better. There's something going on with me, but I just don't know what it is. And that quest of finding answers, because I'm 34. I'm feeling like I'm like 60, having tons of perimenopausal symptoms and sweating and bloating and not sleeping at night. And I'm like, I can't start perimenopause at 34. I'm like on my peak of youth.
And that's it. Doctors can take us down a road where we get so disillusioned and disappointed that it actually puts us into a deeper spiral rather than actually taking better care of ourselves. So, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh God, I can't find a way out, please know there are choices out there aside from traditional medicine that could potentially give you a solution. I want to get back to things being connected and our gut brain connection because when we get our gut microbiome right, there is a connection between our brain and our gut and pretty much every other microbiome in our body. It really is that signal to us that whether something's right or wrong, right? It's like our central dashboard, I guess, if you like, that this is where we need to look at if we want to improve things, right?
Yes. So we have something that is called the gut-brain connection, and we have more nerves going from the gut to the brain than to the brain to the gut. And a lot of neurotransmitters, about 80 to 90%, are made in our gut microbiome. So talking about also if we feed the gut with what the gut likes to eat, we talk about the rainbow, we talk about diversity, we talk about fiber, we talk about fermented foods. If we give that to the gut microbiome, we're going to produce a lot of good serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, and we're going to feel really, really happy, right? If our gut microbiome is hungry, we're going to feel like that, very sad, very like bleh, right? Because the gut microbiome is not creating all the happy guts that are making us feel happy, plus all the neurotransmitters that are going to make us feel happy. So imagine like when people will go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, the first question will be, how's your diet? Are you eating fiber? Are you eating for the color of the rainbow? Are you eating enough, fermented foods? That should be the first question, right? And we're not asking that. They're not trained on that. But I hope that in the future, psychologists, psychiatrists will have that training. So when someone goes and say, I'm feeling very sad, there's something going on with me, then we can see it as a nutritional viewpoint. Like, okay, let's talk about your nutrition, how you're doing. And if the person is already doing those things, then we look at other causes. Heavy metals can cause a lot of mental conditions because heavy metals, they cross the blood-brain barrier, and especially mercury. So a lot of people are having brain issues, depression, anxiety, even Alzheimer's, dementia. It could be because they have a lot of toxins and heavy metals. So we have to look into all these things too. But the first thing, if we want to be happy, eat for the color of the rainbow.
Yeah, and, we have a mental health crisis at the moment globally. And I think if they could just get to the basics of what are you eating, like, I think that could change a lot of situations, and really it could save a lot of medication as well. Imagine
100%.
that. Imagine that. Like,
imagine that. I think about that all the time, and I'm like, people think it's difficult to be healthy, like really difficult. But if you think about it, if we go back to the basics, things that, and then you think it's so basic how that's going to work, because it works.
It does.
Right? We don't spend enough time outdoors either. We're all time indoors in the computers. We don't see any sun. We have our circadian rhythm also all messed up. That also impacts your gut microbiome, because your gut microbiome also follows a circadian rhythm. So if we're exposed to artificial light all the time, we're in the computer all the time, we're on the phone all the time, we're highly connected, very stressed out, we don't take a break, that also is going to impact the way that we feel. So you could be eating really healthy too, but not spending enough time outdoors, relaxing, going for a walk, getting some earthing. There's so much studies on the power of being outside and putting your feet, barefoot in the grass and walk in the sand. So I tell all my clients, and when I have the opportunities to be on a podcast or share with others, spend time outside too. Be outside, take breaks, get some sun. Go wake up early, see the sun, get that sun, touch your eyes, see the sunset, let your body relax. And if you have to work late at night, work some the blue light blockers. So then you allow that cortisol level to decrease and the melatonin to increase at night, so you can have a good night's sleep. We're not sleeping good. We're sleeping very bad too. So we have so many issues as a society. We're highly stressed. We're not spending enough time outside. We are having issues with our relationships. Sometimes we at home, either with our families, our significant others, our children, right? That constant battle, that's very stressful to live in an environment like that. We're not happy at work. We're having issues with our coworkers. So all of those things, they sound simple, and you can think like how that's going to impact my health or perhaps improve my health. It's going to.
Yeah.
Right. But what I tell people, it's like, start with one thing at a time. Because if you tell them you have to do these 10 things, so you have to do these 10 things right now, it's too much. Right? Just tackle one, and let's start decreasing the amount of processed food that you eat. Let's make that first step. And then when you conquer that first step, say, okay, I decreased the amount of processed food and I'm eating more color in my diet. I'm actually feeling better. Okay, I'm going to start walking now. Right? Moving your body, right? And then you start exercising a little bit more. Then you sleep better. So it's a cascade, right? Everything is like, it's going to add on. But start with one thing at a time, because it can feel overwhelming to all of a sudden say like, I'm going to start these 10 things that are going to fix my health. And then you start all of them at the same time and you quit because it's too much.
And, just getting back to the mental health crisis, I don't know about you, but most people who are not in a good place don't tend to treat themselves very well. So whatever they're ingesting probably isn't going to be the rainbow or anything that's not chemically processed in some way. But I really think, if there's someone out there listening to this that's in that kind of space that needs some help, like just small changes, like you've said, like that can start to make a huge difference in a very short time. Now, one thing I want to get to with the gut is probiotics and prebiotics and the roles that they play. Now, I want to tell you a story, Rosemary. When I was on all the organic, which I still kind of am, stuff, I got a really bad throat infection. I got really sick. And I was like, I'm not taking antibiotics. How can I do this naturally? How can I get through this with just supplements alone? So I ended up, and you may agree with this or not, but I ended up getting, I think it was probiotics, and I actually took the powder out of the capsules, put it in water, and I gargled it, and it actually cleared my throat within days. Now, by healing my gut, it actually healed my throat, and I got through that infection faster than probably if I'd have taken antibiotics. Looking at probiotics and prebiotics, one, what's the difference? And two, how can they heal us?
Well, probiotics, it's already when we take a pill that is the probiotic, that's already have the good friendly bacteria, right? The prebiotic, it's what we need in order for our gut to make probiotics, to make more friendly bacteria. So an example of prebiotics is like green bananas, green plantain, artichokes. If we let the rice to cool down and eat it cold, that contains a lot of prebiotics. I think jicama is another food that has a lot of prebiotics. And I would say what I was thinking that I eat a lot. We talk about, and also the fermented foods, they have a lot of probiotics. So what I tell people, because eating fermented food is less expensive than buying different type of probiotics. And it's, you can make your own sauerkraut at home, buy cabbage, let it ferment, and it's very inexpensive and actually has more probiotics than a pill, because the process of the temperature and the travel time from the manufacturer to the store, by the time you purchase it and put it in the refrigerator, the amount of strains are going to decrease. But in fermented foods, you get more concentration of probiotics. So that's why fermented foods are my favorite. In cases of when I test the gut microbiome, if I see someone is very depleted in the commensal flora, in the good flora, I will give them targeted probiotics, but probiotics act as a placeholder. So when you take them, they're just going to make the work that they need to do. And then once you stop taking them, they're gone. So they're not going to produce more. Fermented foods, on the other hand, helps your gut to produce more probiotics. So probiotics in pills are good when you are dealing with a specific problem that you want to solve and work with, while you're also doing things like eating a lot of fiber and eating a lot of fermented foods. So you are giving this probiotic, but at the same time, you're increasing that flora, right? So you're helping that gut at the same time. So when you stop taking that probiotic, you're already having a lot of good flora. So the difference is prebiotic is needed to make probiotics, and a probiotic, it's the organism that you're taking to make the function. So some people might take bifidobacterium because they're very low in bifidobacterium. Bifidobacterium, we'll get it mostly from breast milk. So that's when I ask my clients, like, do you were breastfed? Right? And then when I check their gut, I can see that they don't have any bifidobacterium. So I help them with probiotics that have bifidobacterium. So because bifidobacterium is really good for your immune system. 80% of our immune system is in the gut. That shouldn't be headline when we were going through what we were going. I don't know if I can say this word here.
Yeah, you can.
But what we were going a couple of years ago. It was madness, right? And people were dying, and and people were scared, and they never say anything about the immune system. Your immune system, 80% of your immune system is in your gut. And guess what? The people that have the less amount of bifidobacterium, those didn't make it. They died. Okay. And it makes sense because as we age, we lose bifidobacterium. And it's part of aging. When we age, we lose a lot of things, right? Collagen, muscle, plasmalogens, tons of stuff start decreasing as we age. So if we start putting those things, when we're hitting our 30s, 40s, we're going to age slower, right? Because we're going to add those things that we need. So a lot of people that, very sadly die during those times were because they didn't have enough bifidobacterium and other stuff, right? A lot of very low vitamin D levels, and they have other chronic conditions. But if we if we understand that 80% of our immune system is in the gut, and if we have a strong gut immune system, we are going to do better when we get another condition, any other viruses, any other bacteria, and even avoid chronic conditions if our gut is strong.
And I love that amongst that you mentioned aging and you know, the things that actually deplete as we age. One thing I've noticed, and I'm nearly pushing 50, by the way, Rosemary, is that when I take better care of my gut, I actually look younger. People say to me, you don't look your age. And I will say I don't. But I've had no procedures done, nothing. It's been based solely on diet. And people just go to me, wow, you do not look your age. And I think if you can, you know, take care of your gut, like your skin is going to look fantastic. You're not going to have as many wrinkles. But hydration plays a part in that too. But it's really taking care of that gut. It really helps you with the aging process as well, doesn't it?
100%. Yeah, I'm going to be 45 and I feel really good because I take care of my gut microbiome. And my energy is good. Your hormones are going to be good too. Now that we're starting that transition between perimenopause, menopause, if we have a healthy gut microbiome, we're going to process our hormones better too. So not only is going to help with our immunity, it's going to also help us to feel better during the transitional stages.
Now, we were just talking prebiotic, probiotic, and thank you so much because I understand that so much better now than I ever have. If we talk supplements, like if you were to pick 5 supplements for people that would really help them boost their gut health, what would they be?
So supplements for gut health, I love colostrum. That's a supplement that I take every day, and it helps with the immune system, and it helps with your gut microbiome, leaky gut, all that. I like to take glutamine, also powder. That's something that I put on my smoothie every day. For muscle, I add also creatine if someone, you know, it also helps with your gut. I take amino acids. Amino acids are really good too because we need amino acid. As we age, we're going to decrease our amino acids, and the way that we get amino acids is through protein. So we have to digest the protein first, and then we need enough stomach acid to digest that protein, and then that protein in order to convert it into amino acids so they go through and do different functions. A lot of also mental disorders are because we don't have enough amino acids. Okay, so we need amino acids to make neurotransmitters too, and also to make the gut lining, which is amino acid, glutamine is an amino acid, so we need it also to make the gut lining. So that's another one that I take daily. Fermented foods, that's my food supplement. I eat fermented foods on every meal, either kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, yogurt every day. Let me see, for supplements, I take a multivitamin. I take tons of stuff.
I know I've got a bit of a pharmacy too.
Specifically for the gut will be the glutamine, whey powder.
Yeah.
Whey protein is also really good for the gut microbiome because it has a lot of immunoglobulins. So that is good for your immune system and it's good for your gut. So in terms of supplements, I have the whey protein, I have the glutamine, I have the amino acids, I take my multivitamin. I take something that's called plasmalogens. Plasmalogens, that's like amazing for our brain, for our health. Of course, magnesium, because we're depleted on magnesium. Is a great mineral. And I take other stuff for the health of my mitochondria and energy. But those are like the basic ones for the gut.
And if we look on the flip side and we look at what we should be avoiding to protect our gut health, what's some suggestions there?
What I suggest to avoid, we talk about we should processed foods. We should avoid processed food at all costs. So things that are fried, things are like shelf stable. You think that they're going to be years on the shelf. Those things are not good for you because they have to put a lot of preservatives to maintain it. So all those preservatives are going to hurt your gut microbiome. Preservatives like carboxymethylcellulose, polysorbate, you find those in processed food, and they cause a lot of leaky gut and inflammation. A lot of highly processed oils like canola oils, all those things are not what nature intended to do. So in order to make all those oils, you have to do extraction process, heat it, at very high temperatures. And all those oils cause a lot of inflammation in the body, inflammation in the gut. And things that have for children and also for adults that have a lot of colorants and all those, like the red 4, all those things they're not only bad for your gut, but also for your brain. They cause a lot of anxiety. Kids that are autistic, ADD, ADHD might make the symptoms worse. So that would be the things that I would avoid. And here in the States, I don't know if in Australia you have that same problem, but here in the States, everything is sprayed with glyphosate. Do you guys have that problem too?
Yeah. It's not as bad, but yeah, we do have it.
So if you're in the US, I tell people stay away from gluten, so wheat products, because they mostly spray here with glyphosate. And then glyphosate is an herbicide that destroys your gut microbiome. So it's so bad that in order for the farmers to spray it, they have to wear hazmat suits because there have been lawsuits. And these people have won against Monsanto because these farmers have developed non-Hodgkin lymphomas and all these very quickly cancers. Like they just don't last that long. They live maybe for 2-3 months. And that's because they're spraying these chemicals and they were not protected at the time. They didn't tell them to do it, or they're very exposed to it. So imagine here in every yard in America, every crop in America, we're spraying these. No wonder we're seeing such an increase in childhood obesity, in mental disorders, obesity, chronic diseases, because what we're eating is full of this chemical. And most of the kids here that's what they eat. Processed foods, burgers, mac and cheese, bread, pizza. And, if you're a business, and especially the economy, you're not going to buy organic farm, wheat from Europe that doesn't have any chemicals. No, you buy the cheap stuff because you want to make money. And then when people go buy something, because also they want to buy cheap stuff, like $1 or $2 for a burger or a pizza. So imagine all the process that they have to do, all the chemicals that food has, and that's what you're eating. And that's the problem we're having. So I would tell people stay completely away from gluten and grains that have been sprayed with glyphosate.
And then if we look at the foods, I know you have been talking about fermented foods a lot, but, what are the top kind of foods that you could focus on to improve your gut microbiome?
Number 1, fermented foods. That would increase your gut microbiome. We talk about that one. Fiber. So minimum hit 25 grams of fiber if you're a female, and about 35 to 40 if you're a male. Minimum. That's what we need daily to increase the gut microbiome diversity and to have a healthy gut, because the gut microbiome needs fiber to make something that is called short-chain fatty acids. And that's what pretty much fuels the colonocytes, the cells in our colon. So when we eat the fiber, that the bugs, the good bugs in our gut are going to make short-chain fatty acids, and butyrate is a short-chain fatty acid that we also can get through ghee and butter. And it's pretty much the energy, the fuel for our colon. So when they have done tons of studies, and people that have colon cancer and other gut issues, they have very low levels of butyrate. So butyrate is anti-inflammatory, and we get it through the fermentation of fibers, and also we can get it through ghee and butter. Okay, so we talk about fermented foods, we talk about fiber, good amounts of lean protein, because also the gut microbiome is going to digest all that protein and convert it into amino acids to go into our body to do its function, right? We need amino acids for our brain, we need amino acids for our muscle, for our bones, our gut, in order to thrive. Clean water is another good one, because the water is so contaminated with heavy metals and chemicals, and also the water is contaminated with prescription medications. They have found levels of different hormone contraceptions and different prescription medications in the water, and it's so sad that children are drinking that water. No wonder we're also seeing an epidemic on low levels of testosterone and low estrogen in early people that are having issues with conceiving, and all the chemicals also. And this is something that is also a big one. It's not food related, but it's what we put in our body, right? The skin absorb it. So perfumes, cologne, shampoos, toothpaste, deodorants, they have a lot of chemicals too, and they're endocrine disruptors. They hurt our gut and also hurt our hormones.
Yeah, that one was a big one for me. When I learned about that, I was like, oh, I need to change everything. And also plastics. Plastics is another big one. You know, having your food in plastics is a big no-no as well, particularly for women and your hormones. And you know, organic, I guess, you know, we're hinting to that as we go. I can't stress how important that is. And I know, you know, in this day and age, people think it's a little bit, I don't know, hipster, but really it does really have a huge impact, not to your health, but also the planet, because of the impact in the way it's grown and what it does to the environment and your gut. Organic, wherever you can get it, if you can afford it.
Yeah. If you can afford it. They did a study and they put people in an organic diet, and a lot of their health symptoms went away. Unfortunately, most of the conventional food that we're eating has so many chemicals. It's not that the food is bad, it's just the way it's grown, what they're putting into the food. And that's why people are so sick. So we also have to look into that, the sources, where we're getting the food from, and also maybe reaching out to our local farmers. We support them. And a lot of them, they might not have the seal that they're organic, but they don't put any chemicals because, you know, getting that seal that is organic costs them a lot of money. But if you have good communication with your farmers, you can get good meat, eggs, and fruit and vegetables, and support your farmer, and also get food less expensive. Sometimes when I go to Farmstead, it's ridiculous how cheap it is to buy fruits and veggies compared to the grocery store.
Exactly. It's almost like we have to go back about 100 years and do things like we used to. My friend always said, you know, don't ever eat anything that your great-great-great-grandmother would not have noticed. And that's really it, is just turning back time and doing things the way we used to and taking away all this processing of things that we ingest, because that's what's doing us harm.
Yeah. And we can make so many yummy things at home too, making our own versions of healthy things. I love chocolate. My daughter loves to bake. And so I get her all the gluten-free stuff and things for her to do the things that she wants. And she's happy. I love what she's baking. So we have our fun stuff too. We're not saying that you have to be boring and, you know, stop eating what you like. You can make your own versions of healthy things. And then when I mentioned fiber, if you're not eating enough amount of fiber in your diet, so fiber is fruit and vegetables. There's some supplements that have fiber that you can add into your diet. If you, for example, some people that have diabetes or are trying to lose weight, they're having a diet that is lower calorie, they're eating less carbohydrates, so they might not be hitting the 25 grams or 40 grams of fiber per day. So in those cases, I would recommend people to get a supplement in the meantime while you are losing weight, and then increase your calories so you can have more fruits and veggies.
Love it. Now, Rosemary, I could probably talk about this all day with you, but if people want to find out more about you and what you do, where can they go?
Thank you for asking, Bindi. They can find me in social media at Dr Rosemarie_Rutecki in Instagram. My website, drrosemarierutecki.com. And I'm also in LinkedIn, Dr. Rosemarie Rutecki. And so, yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Now, I've got the last big question for you. What's the change you'd like to see in the world, and how can we bring it to life?
This is the sound of your engine getting clean. Because BP and Amoco gasolines with Invigorate clean deep in your engine as you drive, helping your car run better to take you farther. Fuel a cleaner engine with BP and Amoco gasolines with Invigorate at a station near you. Optimizes your engine's performance from the harmful effects of deposits caused by minimum detergent fuels. Requires continuous use. Results depend on what you drive and how you drive. Comparison made for fuels with the same ethanol content.
The change I would like to see is that we can see this type of education in schools, right? That we can learn about nutrition early on, so we can, because our parents don't know, right? And if we want to make a change in our generation, we have to teach this in our schools. We have to talk about food. We have to talk about where the food come from. And when we're teaching biology to the children, and then they talk about the Krebs cycle and all those things, guess what? What the Krebs cycle needs, nutrients. Where do we get that from? Food, like good food. And if you teach that to children, they will make better choices, and we will have a better generation. That will be an amazing thing. And it's so easy, right? We just have to incorporate this in the curriculum, and also feeding them better foods at the schools too, because what we're feeding our children is so bad. What we're feeding our patients in the hospitals is so bad, right? So people go there because the food got them sick, and then they got a heart attack, and they're giving them the food that they give them is so bad too. So if we want to see a change, we got to start with our kids, teaching them that in order to be healthy, we got to take care of ourselves too. And it's not selfish to be kind to yourself, to love yourself, because your soul chooses your body to live in. And this is the only place that you have to live, your body. So it has to be a temple. We learn so much about being materialistic, about buying cars, buying purses, and you see how the kids take their phones, and it's like glued to their hands, right? Like for them, that's the most precious possession. A phone, an artificial thing, right? Something that can be replaced. So imagine if we redirect that and teach kids that the most important thing is your body and your health. And if you're not healthy, you're not going to be able to live a happy life, right? Going forward. You're not going to feel good. You're not going to be able to have a healthy family, create a business, work for someone, whatever is your calling in life. You're not going to be able to do it if you're not healthy.
Oh, Rosemary, I could not agree more. Like, I think the whole curriculum needs to be overturned, really, so that they actually learn about nutrition, they learn about their body, they learn about emotional health as well, so that then, if they are having struggles, they know how to deal with them, and that we don't have these mental health crises because we're dealing with it through nutrition and emotional understanding. And, like, wow. Imagine how we could upturn economies.
Imagine that.
Just by starting with our children. Like, that is absolutely incredible. I hope there's some educators out there listening to us, because really, wow, that is going to be the game changer right there.
That will be the game changer.
Rosemary, I have loved every second with you. Thank you so much for being a part of the Ethical Evolution.
Thank you so much for having me. I had such a great time. We can talk for hours.
Yes.
I love it.
Thanks for listening to the Ethical Evolution podcast. If you're ready to be the change and would love to work with me on finding your voice through spiritual coaching or creating your own podcast with impact, visit ethicalchangeagency.com. If you're enjoying the show, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's growing every day with great content and highlights you may not have heard on the podcast. In addition, please subscribe to the podcast on Spotify or Apple, and why not leave a 5-star review? If you're not following me on social media, you can find me at Ethical Change Agency on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook and YouTube, and at DJ Bindi on TikTok and Instagram. If you're interested in diving deeper into the ethical evolution with me, I've created a membership program that allows me to bring you more in-depth exclusive content without relying on paid ads. My goal is to deliver members way more value than the cost of the subscription. Benefits include Ask Me Anything episodes. I've interviewed hundreds of people from around the world, so imagine what you could ask. Access exclusive bonus content only for members that focuses on the downloads I get through my conversations that include actionable tips. Support Ethical Change Agency and the Ethical Evolution podcast on its mission to amplify change makers who make the world a better place. Access to global connections who can help you make greater impact in the world. Meditate with me, and discounted spiritual coaching or podcast consulting with me at 15% off. That value alone pays for your membership. For only $7 a month or $70 a year, you can access all these benefits of an Ethical Evolution Emergence membership. If you want to learn more and access these benefits, head on over to ethicalchangeagency.com.
Hey guys, it's Miriam Love here, and I want to share something very special with you. Check out my new release, All In, the Spanish remixes, out now on Electric House Records. And always remember, be love, share love, all love.
Available now wherever you listen to music.
Welcome to Ringside with Ray and Prince. My name is Ray Leonard Jr.
Oh, is that the shit? No, that's just my dad.
My name is Prince Daniels Jr.
Daniels again with a big home touchdown.
On this show, we come to humanize
athletes, entertainers, business executives. We're going to see what makes them tick.
Tuesdays, 10 a.m. Pacific time on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll see you there. Peace and power.
Electric acid. Electric acid.